This week, we'll be going over all of the achievements in Blair Witch. There are 25 achievements in the game, and the average completion time is about 16.5 hours. I ended up finishing it in just under 12 hours though, so with the help of my guides, you should be able to get it done about that quick. And now, let's get into it. Overall, we'll be doing 2 playthroughs. The first will be killing every monster we see, picking up every collectible, making Bullet like you until the end, and preparing things for our second playthrough. Starting in Chapter 1, we'll be in the beginning parking lot and we can get a few of the collectible achievements. The first being The Idol for collecting the first wooden doll, Lost in the Woods for collecting the first victim's photo, and Counseling for collecting the first psychiatrist note. I have a standalone video covering all of the collectible locations throughout the game, so definitely use that while going through your first playthrough to make sure you get all of those. All in all, using that guide is also going to get you Dogs of War for collecting the first dog tag, To Fallen Comrades for collecting all of the dog tags, The Fetish for collecting all of the wooden dolls, Psychotherapy for collecting all of the psychiatrist notes, Garbage Man for picking up all of the trash, and Picture Perfect for collecting all of the victims' photos. While in this parking lot, be sure to come up to the police truck and make sure to look at the back of this picture to get the phone number.
The phone number.
You're gonna need this later on to complete 2 absent friends, which we'll go over the rest of later on. While we're here, we can go ahead and get a couple of other achievements involving your phone. You don't have to do these just yet, as you can do them whenever, but why not go ahead and get them done now? We have I Hate Pizza for making the pizza guy lose it. You'll essentially just need to keep calling Donnie's Pizza over and over until he finally loses it on you, and you get the achievement. Because as you know, every good horror story starts with a few prank calls. Then we can get Snake Charmer for scoring 40 points in Cobra. This is essentially just playing Snake and getting to 40 points. If you've ever played Snake before, this will be very easy to do. Before you move on to the next area, you'll also want to call Jess so we can work on Ray of Hope for patching things up with Jess. Essentially, the requirements for this is any chapter you get to where you have phone signal, or you get a text from her, you'll want to give her a call. As long as you stay in contact with her every time you can, you'll get this achievement near the end of the game.
But it's a start.
Moving on to Chapter 2, we'll get the ability to control Bullet, and right after that, we can go ahead and get Good Boy for petting the dog. Just pull up his command wheel and use the pet option to pet him. And now from this point, you're going to want to also be stopping and petting Bullet very frequently throughout the game so we can get Last Goodbye for finding out what happened to Bullet at the end of the game. The requirements for this one are really just to pet him often, feed him some treats as you go through the game, destroy every totem you see, when you get to the hole under the tree, do not send him in it, and then once you get to the point where he's injured and you have to carry him, just keep carrying him all the way until you collapse. As long as you do all of that, you'll get this achievement at the end of the game. Then at some point as you go through the game, you'll get The Longest Hike for walking 100 miles. You don't have to grind this one out as you'll naturally get it just by going through the game. And because we're killing all of the monsters we can during our first playthrough, you're also going to get Evil in the Woods for killing your first monster. And then a little bit later on, you'll also get Fast with a Flashlight for killing 10. We've also got What You Got There for letting Bullet bring you 10 things. This one counts between playthroughs, so if you don't get it on your first run, you should for sure get it naturally on your second.
Let's see.
Once you get to the point where you can find Sheriff Lanning's body, you can get 2 absent friends for paying your respects to him. You can do this by calling his wife and letting her know that her husband has died. Now you'll have her number after looking at the back of the picture from his truck that we went over in Chapter 1. So just call her and you'll get this achievement.
I used to work with your husband. I don't really know how to say this, so
Similar to that one, we can get K.I.A. for letting the VA know about the lumberjack's death. Once you get to the lumber mill, you'll end up finding the lumberjack's body. At that point, you can go ahead and call the VA from in your contacts list and get this achievement. Getting closer to the end of this first run, we'll get Bullet Doesn't Like 'Em for breaking 10 totems. Since we're going through breaking all of the totems to grab the pictures this run, you should get this around the end of the game.
all gone.
Then to make sure we can get Take His Face for becoming Carver, you're going to want to choose to kill the sheriff in the house and also pull the wooden lever to kill the lumberjack. As long as you do what the witch wants you to, along with killing monsters and breaking totems throughout the game, you'll get this achievement at the very end. This is definitely the easier of the endings to get. If you made it this far in the video, be sure to let me know down in the comments what you thought about the game, hit the like button, subscribe for more achievement guides, and if you want to support the channel even further, hit the join button to become a member. While in the house, you'll eventually come up to this door where you have to use a tape to walk inside. Before you do this, however, you're going to want to come over here to grab this battery. We'll need to grab this during our first playthrough so that we can get last transmission for finding out what happened to Peter on our second playthrough. Picking it up on this run is going to cause it to spawn in an underground shelter in Chapter 4 on the second playthrough. So then once we get back there, we're going to use the code 2113 and put the battery in the radio. Listening to the transmission will get you this achievement.
The search for a missing boy ends in tragedy.
And now our two main objectives for our second playthrough will be to get Pacifist for ending the game without killing any monsters, and Break the Cycle for helping Ellis get his redemption. Pacifist is of course for not killing any monsters, which means we will not be using our flashlight at all this playthrough. We'll have to rely solely on the night vision mode of our camera to navigate through the woods. It gets pretty dark, but just take it slow and you'll get through it. You'll also want to be sure not to break any totems for this, and when the witch gives you the choices to kill the sheriff or pull the wooden lever, you'll need to refuse both and just keep walking through the doors. Some other tips for this would be, when navigating through the camps going to the lumber mill, do not take the rail cart until the very end when you move the fallen tree out of the way. This area is probably the hardest part in the game, but once you get through this, it's pretty easy. Then once you get to this ceiling monster jump scare, you'll be in a room where the witch wants you to kill the enemies to proceed. Instead of doing that, you're going to want to only keep your camera out and navigate your way to the exit door marked by the white paint. And with that, we now have 100% of the achievements in Blair Witch. Of course, be sure to also check out some of my other guides to help you complete some more games.